SQL for beginners. So we're going to be reviewing select, from, where, group by, having, order by. So those are some big components for any query that you're going to be creating. So let's simplify this a little bit and then we'll kind of build it up. Alright, so we have this simplified now. So as you can see, we have select, from, where. So our select statement, this is where we're going to be entering the fields that we want within the query. So these are all of our different columns. So we are pulling in the customer ID, the product ID, the quantity, and the date. And then we're saying from the sales table, and then we're using S as an alias. An alias just allows you to rename something. For example, above s.salesDate, this is referring to sales table.salesDate. We then have where sales date equals 2009. So I just wrapped a year function around this. So we'll be able to do that up here as well. And that will just extract the year from the date field. I also have another condition, so where year sales date equals 2009 and product ID in 4, 5, or 6. So now let's say we want to add our customer name as well as our product name. We can do this by joining those tables. So first thing, we'll join the customer table. So left join customers, and we can create an alias as C. And we're joining this based off the customer ID. So s.customer ID equals c.customer ID, referring to the customers table. Now this will allow us to pull fields from the customers table. So I can come back up here and add in the customer name. So we have first name and last name. We don't have a field for full name, so we can create that here. We'll just do first name, and then we'll do an addition sign, and we're going to add in a space. So it's just apostrophe. We're adding a space. We're adding text, and then we can add another field. So we'll do c.last name. We can now create an alias for this. So we'll call this customer name. So we'll do as customer name. So now if we run this, now we have the customer name. So now let's do the same for the product. So we're going to pull in the products table, and we're going to join that based off the product ID from the sales table to the product ID in the products table. Create an alias for this as P. So on s.product ID equals p.product ID. This allows us now to pull in values from the products table. So that's going to be the product name. So we'll go up here and go pull in p.name. So now if we run this, we'll have the name now. And as you can see, there's 760 rows. And as you can see, a lot of these rows are repeating. And this is just because the sales date. I have year up here, but we're not actually grouping the data. We're just pulling in every row. So now what we want to do is we want to group this. So we're going to first off put a sum function on the quantity, because this is our value that we want to sum. And we're going to come down here, and now we're going to be grouping this query. So we're going to group by all the fields up here that are not included in our aggregate. So what I'll do is just copy all of these and come down here and paste them. Within our group by, we remove our alias and we remove our aggregate columns that were, because this is what we're grouping off, the quantity. So we can remove that. So now if we run this, as you can see, now we have 11 rows. So now the data is grouped. So another thing we could do is we can use a having statement. This allows us to filter data based off aggregates. So if I plug in having, and let's just say, for example, we want only values where the quantity value is greater than 1,000. So we'll say having sum of this greater than 1,000. You're not able to use aggregate filters in your where condition. So for example, if I were to come up here and try to put this sum greater than 1,000 in that where condition, and I run this, you'll notice we receive an error saying an aggregate may not appear in the where clause. Pretty much put it in a having clause. So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. So we'll remove this, and now we have it down here below. And lastly, what we can do is we can order the data. So we'll put in order by, and we'll say we want to order by the quantity again. And from here, it's going to default as ascending. You also have the ability to just put in descending. So ascending or descending. So we'll hit F5 to run that on our keypad. And as you can see, there's our data. So hopefully that helped. Yeah.